Hello. Let's see the Union Budget 2023-24. The important points are: Union Budget 2023-24 presents vision for Amrit Kal blueprint for an empowered and inclusive economy. Three-pronged focus driven by four transformative opportunities constitute foundation of Amrit Kal. Capital investment outlay increased by 33% to Rs. 10 lakh crore. Effective capital expenditure at 4.5% of GDP, fiscal deficit estimated to be 5.9% of GDP in B 2023-24. Real GDP to grow at 7% in FY 2020-23, exports to grow at 12.5% in FY 2023. Atmanirbhar Clean Plant Program with outlay of 2,200 rupee crore to be launched to boost availability of quality planting material for high-value horticultural crops. 157 new nursing colleges to be established. Outlay for PM Awas Yojana enhanced by 66% to over rupees 79,000 crore. Highest ever capital outlay of Rs. 2.40 lakh crore provided for railways. Urban Infrastructure Development Fund, UIDF, to be established through use of priority sector lending. Shortfall: 500 new waste to wealth plants under Govardhan scheme to be established at total investment of 10,000 rupees crore. 10,000 bioinput resource centers to be set up, creating national-level distributed microfertilizer and pesticide manufacturing network. Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana 4.0 to be launched. Union Budget 2023-24 provides substantial relief for personal income tax. New slabs announced under the new tax regime. Resident individual with total income up to 7 rupees lakh will not have to pay any income tax under new tax regime. Standard deduction of 50,000 rupee will also be available to salaried individuals under the new tax regime. New tax regime for individual and HUF will be the default regime. Limit for tax exemption on leave encashment on retirement of non-government salaried employees increased to 25 rupees lakh. Slew of proposals announced for the cooperative sector. Indirect tax proposals aim to promote exports, boost domestic manufacturing, enhance domestic value addition, encourage green energy and mobility. Number of basic customs duty rates on goods, other than textiles and agriculture, reduced from 21 to 13. In the 75th year of India's independence, the world has recognized the Indian economy as a bright star, as the economic growth is estimated at 7%, which is the highest among all major economies, in spite of the massive global slowdown caused by COVID-19 and Russia-Ukraine war. This was stated by Union Minister for Finance and Corporate Affairs (SNT) Nirmala Sitaraman, while presenting the Union Budget 2023-24 in Parliament today. She emphasized that Indian economy is on the right track, and despite a time of challenges, heading towards a bright future. Srimati Sitaraman said that this budget hopes to build on the foundation laid in the previous budget, and the blueprint drawing for India at 100, which envisions a prosperous and inclusive India, where the fruits of development reach all regions and citizens, especially our youth, women, farmers, OBCs, scheduled castes, and scheduled tribes. Resilience amidst multiple crises. The Finance Minister said that India's rising global profile is due to several accomplishments like unique world-class digital public infrastructure, namely Aadhaar, CoWIN and UPI, COVID-19 vaccination drive in unparalleled scale and speed, proactive role in frontier areas such as achieving the climate-related goals, Mission Life, and National Hydrogen Mission. She said that during the COVID-19 pandemic, government ensured that no one goes to bed hungry, with a scheme to supply free food grains to over 80 crore persons for 28 months. The minister added that continuing with centre's commitment to ensure food and nutritional security, government is implementing, from 1 January 2023, a scheme to supply free food grain to all Antyodaya and priority households for the next 1 year, under PM Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, PMGK. The entire expenditure of about 2 lakh rupees crore will be borne by the central government. G20 presidency, steering the global agenda through challenges. The finance minister pointed out that in these times of global challenges, the G20 presidency gives India a unique opportunity to strengthen its role in the world economic order. With the theme of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, India is steering an ambitious, people-centric agenda to address global challenges and to facilitate sustainable economic development, she added. Achievements since 2014, leaving no one behind. SMT Sitaraman said that the government's efforts since 2014 have ensured for all citizens a better quality of living and a life of dignity, and the per capita income has more than doubled to 1.97 lakh rupees. She said that in these 9 years, the Indian economy has increased in size from being 10th to 5th largest in the world. Moreover, the economy has become a lot more formalized as reflected in the EPFO membership, more than doubling to 27 crores, and 7,400 crore digital payments of 126 lakh rupees crore through UPI in 2022. The finance minister pointed out that the efficient implementation of many schemes, with universalization of targeted benefits, has resulted in inclusive development and listed some of the schemes such as 11.7 crore household toilets under Swachh Bharat Mission, 9.6 crore LPG connections under Ujjwala, 220 crore COVID vaccinations of 102 crore persons, 47.8 crore PM Jan Dhan bank accounts, insurance cover for 44.6 crore persons under PM Suraksha Bima and PM Jeevan Jyoti Yojana, and cash transfer of 2.2 lakh rupees crore to over 11.4 crore farmers under PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. Vision for Amrit Kal, an empowered and inclusive economy. The finance minister said that our vision for the Amrit Kal includes technology-driven and knowledge-based economy with strong public finances and a robust financial sector, and to achieve this, Jan Bhagidari through Sabka Saath Sabka Prayas is essential. She added that the economic agenda for achieving this vision focuses on 3 things, and those are facilitating ample opportunities for citizens, especially the youth, to fulfill their aspirations, secondly, providing strong impetus to growth and job creation, and finally to strengthen macroeconomic stability. She added that to service these focus areas in our journey to India at 100, the following 4 opportunities can be transformative during Amrit Kal. 1. Economic empowerment of women. Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana National Rural Livelihood Mission has achieved remarkable success by mobilizing rural women into 81 lakh self-help groups, and we will enable these groups to reach the next stage of economic empowerment through formation of large producer enterprises or collectives, with each having several thousand members and managed professionally. 2. PM Vishwakarma Kaushal Samman, PM Vikas for centuries, traditional artisans and craftspeople who work with their hands using tools have brought renown for India, and they are generally referred to as Vishwakarma. The art and handicraft created by them represents the true spirit of Atmanirbhar Bharat. The finance minister informed that for the first time, a package of assistance for them has been conceptualized, and the new scheme will enable them to improve the quality, scale and reach of their products, integrating them with the MSME value chain. The components of the scheme will include not only financial support but also access to advanced skill training, knowledge of modern digital techniques and efficient green technologies, brand promotion, linkage with local and global markets, digital payments, and social security. This will greatly benefit the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, OBCs, women and people belonging to the weaker sections. 3. Tourism. The finance minister said that the country offers immense attraction for domestic as well as foreign tourists, as there is a large potential to be tapped in tourism. She added that the sector holds huge opportunities for jobs and entrepreneurship for youth in particular, and emphasized that promotion of tourism will be taken up on mission mode with active participation of states, convergence of government programs, and public-private partnerships. 4. Green growth. Dwelling on the subject of green growth, the FM said that India is implementing many programs for green fuel, green energy, green farming, green mobility, green buildings, and green equipment, and policies for efficient use of energy across various economic sectors. These green growth efforts help in reducing carbon intensity of the economy and provides for large-scale green job opportunities, she added. Priorities of this budget. SMT. Nirmala Sitaraman listed 7 priorities of the Union budget and said that they complement each other and act as the Saptarishi guiding us through the Amrit Kal. They are as follows: 1. Inclusive development. 2. Reaching the last mile. 3. Infrastructure and investment. 4. Unleashing the potential. 5. Green growth. 6. Youth power. 7. Financial sector. Priority 1. Inclusive development. The government's philosophy of Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas has facilitated inclusive development covering in specific farmers, women, youth, OBCs, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, Divyangjan and economically weaker sections, an overall priority for the underprivileged, Vanchito ko Varyeta. There has also been a sustained focus on Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh and the Northeast. This budget builds on those efforts. Agriculture and cooperation. Digital public infrastructure for agriculture. The finance minister said that the digital public infrastructure for agriculture will be built as an open source, open standard, and interoperable public good. She said this will enable inclusive, farmer-centric solutions through relevant information services for crop planning and health, improved access to farm inputs, credit, and insurance, help for crop estimation, market intelligence, and support for growth of agri-tech industry and startups. Agriculture Accelerator Fund. The FM announces that an Agriculture Accelerator Fund will be set up to encourage agri-startups by young entrepreneurs in rural areas, which will aim at bringing innovative and affordable solutions for challenges faced by farmers. It will also bring in modern technologies to transform agricultural practices, increase productivity and profitability. Enhancing productivity of cotton crop. To enhance the productivity of extra-long staple cotton, government will adopt a cluster-based and value chain approach through public-private partnerships, PPP. This will mean collaboration between farmers, state and industry for input supplies, extension services, and market linkages. Atmanirbhar Horticulture Clean Plant Program. SMT. Nirmala Sitaraman announced that the government will launch an Atmanirbhar Clean Plant Program to boost availability of disease-free, quality planting material for high-value horticultural crops at an outlay of 2,200 crore rupees. Global Hub for Millets, Sri Anna. SMT. Sitaraman quoted Prime Minister as saying, India is at the forefront of popularizing millets, whose consumption furthers nutrition, food security, and welfare of farmers. She said that India is the largest producer and second largest exporter of Sri Anna in the world as it grows several types of Sri Anna such as Jowar, Ragi, Bajra, Kuttu, Ramdana, Kangni, Kutki, Kodo, China, and Sama. She mentioned that these have a number of health benefits and have been an integral part of our food for centuries, and acknowledged with pride that the huge service done by small farmers in contributing to the health of fellow citizens by growing these Sri Anna. She added that to make India a global hub for Sri Anna, the Indian Institute of Millet Research, Hyderabad will be supported as the center of excellence for sharing best practices, research and technologies at the international level. Agriculture credit. Dwelling on welfare measures for farmers, the finance minister announced that the agriculture credit target will be increased to 20 lakh rupees crore with focus on animal husbandry, dairy and fisheries. She informed that the government will launch a new sub-scheme of PM Matsya Sampada Yojana with targeted investment of 6,000 crore rupees to further enable activities of fishermen, fish vendors, and micro and small enterprises, improve value chain efficiencies, and expand the market. Cooperation. For farmers, especially small and marginal farmers, and other marginalized sections, the government is promoting cooperative-based economic development model. A new Ministry of Cooperation was formed with a mandate to realize the vision of Sarkar Se Samriddhi. To realize this vision, the government has already initiated computerization of 63,000 primary agricultural credit societies, PACs, with an investment of 2,516 crore rupees. In consultation with all stakeholders and states, model bylaws for PACs were formulated enabling them to become multipurpose PACs. A national cooperative database is being prepared for countrywide mapping of cooperative societies. SMT. Sitaraman said that government will implement a plan to set up massive decentralized storage capacity, which will help farmers store their produce and realize remunerative prices through sale at appropriate times. The government will also facilitate setting up of a large number of multipurpose cooperative societies, primary fishery societies, and dairy cooperative societies in uncovered panchayats and villages in the next 5 years. Health, education, and skilling. Medical and nursing colleges. The Finance Minister announced that 157 new nursing colleges will be established in co-location with the existing 157 medical colleges established since 2014. She also informed that a mission to eliminate sickle cell anemia by 2047 will be launched, which will entail awareness creation, universal screening of 7 crore people in the age group of 0 to 40 years in affected tribal areas, and counseling through collaborative efforts of central ministries and state governments. On medical research, she said that facilities in select ICMR labs will be made available for research by public and private medical college faculty and private sector R&D teams for encouraging collaborative research and innovation. Dwelling on the subject of pharma innovation, the Finance Minister informed that a new program to promote research and innovation in pharmaceuticals will be taken up through centers of excellence. She said that the government will also encourage industry to invest in research and development in specific priority areas. Teachers training. SMT. Sitaraman said that teachers training will be re-envisioned through innovative pedagogy, curriculum transaction, continuous professional development, dipstick surveys, and ICT implementation. She added that the district institutes of education and training will be developed as vibrant institutes of excellence for this purpose. She also informed that a national digital library for children and adolescents will be set up for facilitating availability of quality books across geographies, languages, genres and levels, and device-agnostic accessibility. States will be encouraged to set up physical libraries for them at panchayat and ward levels and provide infrastructure for accessing the national digital library resources. Additionally, to build a culture of reading and to make up for pandemic time learning loss, the National Book Trust, Children's Book Trust, and other sources will be encouraged to provide and replenish non-curricular titles in regional languages and English to these physical libraries. Priority 2. Reaching the last mile. The Finance Minister said that Prime Minister Vajpayee's government had formed the Ministry of Tribal Affairs and the Department of Development of Northeastern Region to provide a sharper focus to the objective of reaching the last mile. She said that Modi government has formed the Ministries of Ayush, Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Skill Development, Jal Shakti and Cooperation. Aspirational Districts and Blocks Program. SMT. Sitaraman informed that building on the success of the Aspirational Districts program, the government has recently launched the Aspirational Blocks program covering 500 blocks for saturation of essential government services across multiple domains such as health, nutrition, education, agriculture, water resources, financial inclusion, skill development, and basic infrastructure. Pradhan Mantri PVTG Development Mission. The finance minister said that to improve socio-economic conditions of the particularly vulnerable tribal groups, PVTGs, Pradhan Mantri PVTG Development Mission will be launched. This will saturate PVTG families and habitations with basic facilities such as safe housing, clean drinking water and sanitation, improved access to education, health and nutrition, road and telecom connectivity, and sustainable livelihood opportunities. An amount of 15,000 crore rupees will be made available to implement the mission in the next 3 years under the Development Action Plan for the Scheduled Tribes. SMT. Sitaraman announced that in the next 3 years, Centre will recruit 38,800 teachers and support staff for the 740 Eklavya Model Residential Schools, serving 3.5 lakh tribal students. Water for drought-prone region. The finance minister said that in the drought-prone central region of Karnataka, central assistance of 5,300 crore rupees will be given to Upper Bhadra project to provide sustainable micro-irrigation and filling up of surface tanks for drinking water. PM Awas Yojana. In an important announcement, the finance minister said that the outlay for PM Awas Yojana is being enhanced by 66% to over 79,000 crore rupees. Bharat Shared Repository of Inscriptions will be set up in a digital epigraphy museum, with digitization of 1 lakh ancient inscriptions in the first stage. Priority 3. Infrastructure and Investment. SMT. Sitaraman said, investments in infrastructure and productive capacity have a large multiplier impact on growth and employment, and in view of this, capital investment outlay is being increased steeply for the third year in a row by 33% to 10 lakh rupees crore, which would be 3.3% of GDP. She said that this will be almost 3 times the outlay in 2019 to 2020. The effective capital expenditure of the centre is budgeted at 13.7 lakh rupees crore, which will be 4.5% of GDP. Support to state governments for capital investment. The finance minister informed that the government has decided to continue the 50-year interest-free loan to state governments for 1 more year to spur investment in infrastructure and to incentivize them for complementary policy actions, with a significantly enhanced outlay of 1.3 lakh rupees crore. Railways. The finance minister announced that a capital outlay of 2.40 lakh rupees crore has been provided for the railways, which is the highest ever outlay and about 9 times the outlay made in 2013 to 2014. She also informed that 100 critical transport infrastructure projects for last and first mile connectivity for ports, coal, steel, fertilizer, and food grains sectors have been identified, and they will be taken up on priority with investment of 75,000 crore rupees, including 15,000 crore rupees from private sources. SMT. Sitaraman said that 50 additional airports, heliports, water aerodromes, and advanced landing grounds will be revived for improving regional air connectivity. The finance minister announced that an Urban Infrastructure Development Fund, UIDF, will be established through use of priority sector lending shortfall, which will be managed by the National Housing Bank and will be used by public agencies to create urban infrastructure in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. She said that states will be encouraged to leverage resources from the grants of the 15th Finance Commission, as well as existing schemes, to adopt appropriate user charges while accessing the UIDF. SMT. Sitaraman said that government will make available 10,000 crore rupees per annum for this purpose. Priority 4. Unleashing the potential. The finance minister said that for enhancing ease of doing business, more than 39,000 compliances have been reduced and more than 3,400 legal provisions have been decriminalized. She added that for furthering the trust-based governance, government has introduced the Jan Vishwas Bill to amend 42 Central Acts. Centers of Excellence for Artificial Intelligence. The finance minister said that for realizing the vision of Make AI in India and Make AI Work for India, 3 centers of excellence for artificial intelligence will be set up in top educational institutions. Leading industry players will partner in conducting interdisciplinary research, develop cutting-edge applications, and scalable problem solutions in the areas of agriculture, health, and sustainable cities, which will galvanize an effective AI ecosystem and nurture quality human resources in the field. National Data Governance Policy. The FM said that to unleash innovation and research by startups and academia, a national data governance policy will be brought out, which will enable access to anonymized data. She also announced that an entity DigiLocker will be set up for use by MSMEs, large business, and charitable trusts for storing and sharing documents online securely, whenever needed, with various authorities, regulators, banks, and other business entities. On 5G services, she announced that 100 labs for developing applications using 5G services will be set up in engineering institutions to realize a new range of opportunities, business models, and employment potential. The labs will cover, among others, applications such as smart classrooms, precision farming, intelligent transport systems, and healthcare applications. Priority 5: Green Growth. Sitaraman said that Prime Minister has given a vision for life, or lifestyle for environment, to spur a movement of environmentally conscious lifestyle. India is moving forward firmly for the Panchamrit and net zero carbon emission by 2070 to usher in green industrial and economic transition. She said, this budget builds on the focus on green growth. The recently launched National Green Hydrogen Mission, with an outlay of 19,700 crores rupees, will facilitate transition of the economy to low carbon intensity, reduce dependence on fossil fuel imports, and make the country assume technology and market leadership in this sunrise sector. The target is to reach an annual production of 5 MMT by 2030. The budget also provides 35,000 crore rupees for priority capital investments towards energy transition and net zero objectives and energy security by Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. The Finance Minister said that to steer the economy on the sustainable development path, battery energy storage systems with capacity of 4,000 MWh will be supported with viability gap funding. She also informed that the interstate transmission system for evacuation and grid integration of 13 gigawatts renewable energy from Ladakh will be constructed with investment of 20,700 crore rupees including central support of 8,300 crore rupees. Job Erdhan Scheme. SMT. Nirmala Sitaraman announced that 500 new waste to wealth plants under Job Erdhan, Galvanizing Organic Bio-Agro Resources Dhan scheme will be established for promoting circular economy. These will include 200 compressed biogas (CBG) plants, including 75 plants in urban areas, and 300 community or cluster-based plants at total investment of 10,000 crore rupees. She said, in due course, a 5% CBG mandate will be introduced for all organizations marketing natural and biogas and for collection of biomass and distribution of biomanure. Appropriate fiscal support will be provided. Bharatiya Prakritik Kheti Bioinput Resource Centers. The Finance Minister announced that over the next 3 years, the centre will facilitate 1 crore farmers to adopt natural farming. For this, 10,000 bioinput resource centers will be set up, creating a national-level distributed microfertilizer and pesticide manufacturing network. The Finance Minister said that in furtherance of the vehicle scrapping policy mentioned in Budget 2021 to 2022, she has allocated adequate funds to scrap old vehicles of the central government, and states will also be supported in replacing old vehicles and ambulances. Priority 6: Youth Power. The Finance Minister said that to empower the youth and help the Amrit PD realize their dreams, government has formulated the National Education Policy, focused on skilling, adopted economic policies that facilitate job creation at scale, and have supported business opportunities. She also announced that Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana 4.0 will be launched to skill lakhs of youth within the next 3 years. On-job training, industry partnership, and alignment of courses with needs of industry will be emphasized. The scheme will also cover new age courses for Industry 4.0 like coding, AI, robotics, mechatronics, IoT, 3D printing, drones, and soft skills. She also announced that to skill youth for international opportunities, 30 Skill India International Centers will be set up across different states. National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme SMT. Nirmala Sitaraman said that to provide stipend support to 47 lakh youth in 3 years, direct benefit transfer under a pan-India National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme will be rolled out. Unity Mall. The FM said that states will be encouraged to set up a Unity Mall in their state capital or most prominent tourism center or the financial capital for promotion and sale of their own ODOPs, one district, one product, GI products, and other handicraft products, and for providing space for such products of all other states. Priority 7. Financial sector. Credit guarantee for MSMEs. The finance minister said that last year, she proposed revamping of the credit guarantee scheme for MSMEs and announced happily that the revamped scheme will take effect from 1st April 2023 through infusion of 9,000 crore rupees in the corpus. This will enable additional collateral-free guaranteed credit of 2 lakh rupees crore. Further, the cost of the credit will be reduced by about 1%. Sitaraman said that a national financial information registry will be set up to serve as the central repository of financial and ancillary information. This will facilitate efficient flow of credit, promote financial inclusion, and foster financial stability. A new legislative framework will govern this credit public infrastructure, and it will be designed in consultation with the RBI. She also announced that a central processing center will be set up for faster response to companies through centralized handling of various forms filed with field offices under the Companies Act. For commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, a one-time new small savings scheme, Mahila Samman Savings Certificate, will be made available for a 2-year period up to March 2025. This will offer deposit facility up to 2 lakh rupees in the name of women or girls for a tenure of 2 years at fixed interest rate of 7.5% with partial withdrawal option. Senior citizens. The finance minister announced that the maximum deposit limit for senior citizen savings scheme will be enhanced from 15 lakh rupees to 30 lakh rupees. Also, the maximum deposit limit for monthly income account scheme will be enhanced from 4.5 lakh rupees to 9 lakh rupees for single account and from 9 lakh rupees to 15 lakh rupees for joint account. Fiscal management. 50-year interest-free loan to states. SMT. Nirmala Sitaraman said that the entire 50-year loan to states has to be spent on capital expenditure within 2023 to 1924. Most of this will be at the discretion of states, but a part will be conditional on states increasing their actual capital expenditure. She said, parts of the outlay will also be linked to, or allocated for, the following purposes, like scrapping old government vehicles, urban planning reforms and actions, financing reforms in urban local bodies to make them creditworthy for municipal bonds, housing for police personnel above or as part of police stations, constructing unity malls, children and adolescents libraries and digital infrastructure, and state share of capital expenditure of central schemes. The revised estimate of the total receipts other than borrowings is 24.3 lakh rupees crore, of which the net tax receipts are rupees 20.9 lakh crore. The revised estimate of the total expenditure is 41.9 lakh rupees crore, of which the capital expenditure is about 7.3 lakh rupees crore. Similarly, the revised estimate of the fiscal deficit is 6.4% of GDP, adhering to the budget estimate. Budget estimates 2023 to 1924. Concluding the Part 1 of the general budget, Ms. Nirmala Sitaraman said that the total receipts other than borrowings and the total expenditure are estimated at 27.2 lakh rupees crore and 45 lakh rupees crore respectively. The net tax receipts are estimated at 23.3 lakh rupees crore. The fiscal deficit is estimated to be 5.9% of GDP. She said that in her budget speech for 2021 to 2022, she had announced that government plans to continue the path of fiscal consolidation, reaching a fiscal deficit below 4.5% by 2025 to 1926 with a fairly steady decline over the period. She said that the government has adhered to this path and reiterated to bring the fiscal deficit below 4.5% of GDP by 2025 to 1926. SMT. Sitaraman said, to finance the fiscal deficit in 2023 to 1924, the net market borrowings from dated securities are estimated at 11.8 lakh rupees crore. The balance financing is expected to come from small savings and other sources. The gross market borrowings are estimated at 15.4 lakh rupees crore. Srimati Nirmala Sitaraman provides major relief in the personal income tax. The indirect tax proposals contained in the budget aim to promote exports, enhance domestic value addition, encourage green energy and mobility. Personal income tax. There are 5 major announcements relating to the personal income tax. The rebate limit in the new tax regime has been increased to 7 lakh rupees, meaning that peons in the new tax regime with income up to 7 lakh rupees will not have to pay any tax. The tax structure in the new personal tax regime has been changed by reducing number of slabs to 5 and increasing the tax exemption limit to 3 lakh rupees. This will provide major relief to all taxpayers in the new regime. The benefit of standard deduction has been extended to the salaried class and the pensioners, including family pensioner under the new tax regime. Salaried individual will get standard deduction of 50,000 rupees and pensioner 15,000 rupees as per the proposal. Each salaried person with an income of 15.5 lakh rupees or more will thus gain 52,500 rupees from the above proposals. The highest surcharge rate in personal income tax has been reduced from 37% to 25% in the new tax regime for income above 2 crore rupees. This would result in maximum tax rate of personal income tax come down to 39%, which was earlier 42.74%. The limit of tax exemption on leave encashment on retirement of non-government salaried employees has been increased from 3 lakh rupees to 25 lakh rupees. The new income tax regime has been made the default tax regime. However, the citizens will continue to have the option to avail the benefit of the old tax regime. Indirect tax proposals. The indirect tax proposals announced in the budget by the Union Minister for Finance and Corporate Affairs, SMT Nirmala Sitaraman, emphasized on simplification of tax structure with fewer tax rates so as to help in reducing compliance burden and improving tax administration. The number of basic customs duty rates on goods, other than textiles and agriculture, has been reduced from 21 to 13. There are minor changes in the basic customs duties, cesses and surcharges on items including toys, bicycles, automobiles, and naphtha. To avoid cascading of taxes on blended compressed natural gas, excise duty on GST paid compressed biogas contained in it has been exempted from excise duty. Customs duty exemption has been extended to import of capital goods and machinery required for manufacture of lithium-ion cells for batteries used in electric vehicles. To further deepen domestic value addition in manufacture of mobile phones, the Finance Minister announced relief in customs duty on import of certain parts and inputs like camera lens. The concessional duty on lithium-ion cells for batteries will continue for another year. Basic customs duty on parts of open cells of TV panels has been reduced to 2.5%. The budget also proposes changes in the basic customs duty to rectify inversion of duty structure and encourage manufacturing of electrical kitchen chimneys. Denatured ethyl alcohol has been exempted from basic customs duty. Basic customs duty has also been reduced on acid-grade fluorspar and crude glycerin. Duty is being reduced on key inputs for domestic manufacture of shrimp feed. Basic customs duty on seeds used in the manufacture of lab-grown diamonds has also been reduced. The import duty on silver doré, bars and articles has been increased to align them with that on gold and platinum. The basic customs duty rate on compounded rubber has been increased. National calamity contingent duty on specified cigarettes has been revised upwards by about 16%. The basic customs duty on crude glycerin for use in manufacture of epichlorohydrin is proposed to be reduced from 7.5% to 2.5%. Common IT return form. The Union Budget also proposes to roll out a next-generation common IT return form for taxpayer convenience. It also stipulates a plan to strengthen the grievance redressal mechanism for direct taxes. The Finance Minister also announced deployment of about 100 joint commissioners for disposals of small appeals in direct tax matters. She also said that the department will be more selective in taking up cases for scrutiny of returns already received this year. Better targeting of tax concessions. For better targeting of tax concessions and exemptions, deduction from capital gains on investment in residential house has been capped at 10 crore rupees. Income tax exemption from proceeds of insurance policies with very high value will also have limit. There are a number of proposals relating to rationalization and simplification of direct taxes in the Union Budget. Other major proposals in the budget relate to extension of period of tax benefits to funds relocating to IFSC, Gift City till 31st March 2025. Decriminalization under Section 276 of the Income Tax Act, allowing carry forward of losses on strategic disinvestment including that of IDBI Bank, and providing e-status to Agniveer Fund. Proposals relating to MSMEs. Describing MSMEs as growth engines of our economy, the budget proposes enhanced limits for micro-enterprises and certain professionals for availing the benefit of presumptive taxation. To support MSMEs in timely receipt of payments, the budget allows deduction for expenditure incurred on payments made to them only when payment is actually made. Cooperation. The budget has a slew of proposals for the cooperative sector. New cooperatives that commence manufacturing activities till 31st March next year shall get the benefit of a lower tax rate of 15%. The budget provides an opportunity to sugar cooperatives to claim payments made to sugarcane farmers for the period prior to assessment year 2016 to 2017 as expenditure. A higher limit of 2 lakh rupees per member has been provided for cash deposits to and loans in cash by primary agricultural cooperative societies and primary cooperative agriculture and rural development banks. The budget proposes a higher limit of 3 crore rupees for TDS on cash withdrawal for cooperative societies. Startups. The budget proposes to extend the date of incorporation for income tax benefits to startups from 31st March 2023 to 31st March 2024. It also provides the benefit of carry forward of losses on change of shareholding of startups from 7 years of incorporation to 10 years. Amendments in CGST Act. The budget provides for amending the CGST Act so as to raise the minimum threshold of tax amount for launching prosecution under GST from 1 crore rupees to 2 crore rupees, except for the offence of issuance of invoices without supply of goods and services or both. The compounding amount will be reduced from the present range of 50 to 150% of tax amount to the range of 25 to 100%. It will also decriminalize certain clauses of the Act like obstruction and preventing of any officer from discharge of his duties, deliberate tempering of evidence, or failure to supply the information. Implications of tax changes. Announcing the changes in the direct and indirect taxes, the finance minister said that revenue of about 38,000 crore rupees will be foregone as a result of these proposals, while revenue of about 3,000 crore rupees will be additionally mobilized. She said thus the total revenue foregone is about 35,000 crore rupees annually on account of these proposals. It was very heartening to see that the finance minister listed green growth as one of the 7 priorities of her budget. I would especially commend the 35,000 crore rupees earmarked for capital investments towards energy transition and net zero objectives, as energy is the primary source of carbon emissions from India. The focus on green hydrogen, energy storage, waste management, and mangrove plantation are all commendable. I also particularly like the focus on natural farming, as agriculture accounts for a huge part of the country's GHG footprint, and changing habits in farming requires a sustained effort over a long period of time. The Union Budget 2023 is a bonanza for affordable housing, with a strategic decision to increase outlay for Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana (PMA) by 66%. This decision provides the much-needed impetus towards the vision of housing for all. Further, with a 33% increment in infrastructure outlay, the government is facilitating economic growth through job creation and investments, which have direct and indirect impact on the real estate sector. It is also heartening to see that the government is maintaining its focus on furthering urbanization initiatives, especially with the outlay of 10,000 crores rupees per annum for an Urban Infrastructure Development Fund (UIDF) for Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. We welcome the measures announced by Finance Minister SMT Nirmala Sitaraman in the Union Budget 2023-24, which indirectly aims to boost the real estate sector's growth while also providing relief to consumers. The proposed increase in the income tax exemption limit to 7 lakh rupees will help boost real estate investment. This tax break will encourage home buyers to invest more while simultaneously increasing revenue. Meeting the long-standing demand of the real estate sector, the cap deduction for capital gains on residential housing investment is set at 10 crore rupees. The personal tax regime revisions will result in a rise in disposable funds due to lower deductions. The proposed reduction in upper limit of tax on higher income groups is a relief, given the current maximum tax percentage in India is highest in the world. The emphasis on infrastructural development will aid the residential real estate sector at large, as it will give an impetus to property launches. As development and construction increases, keeping the environment in mind is crucial to ensure we are sustainable. The government's endeavor for clean energy and focus on encouraging green construction is a welcome move. Markets react to Union Budget 2023-1924. Adani Group stocks face the fall. After Sensex ended flat and market witnessed massive fluctuations, the Adani Group stocks too, on a day when the Union Budget 2023-1924 was announced, have crashed. In a major development, Credit Suisse has assigned zero lending value to Adani bonds. But what does it mean? Let's discuss. Global investment firm Credit Suisse assigns zero lending value to bonds issued by Adani Ports and says, Adani Green Energy and Adani Electricity Mumbai on Wednesday, Bloomberg reported. Following this development, stocks belonging to Adani Group companies closed in red, with its flagship firm Adani Enterprises closing 28% lower on the NSE. The Adani Group companies were already having a disastrous few days at the markets after short seller Hindenburg Research published a scathing report on Adani's alleged market malpractices last week. The ports-to-power conglomerate reportedly lost a third of its market capitalization in the 5 trading sessions since the short sellers' report came out. Now, it seems that Credit Suisse downgrading of the Adani bonds will add to the group's woes. Earlier, the Swiss-based Credit Suisse was offering a lending value of 75% on the Adani bonds, as per Bloomberg. This means that clients could hold bonds issued by the Adani firms as collateral and borrow up to 75% of the bond's value from Credit Suisse. With today's revelation, it is implied that clients can no longer offer Adani bonds as collateral for loans from the Swiss lender. Bonds issued by Adani firms were already falling in value for close to a week before climbing today, as Hindenburg's criticism damaged investors' faith in bond and equity products of the Adani Group. Notably, Hindenburg holds short position on Adani bonds and its traded derivatives, implying that the present fall in its valuation will boost the short sellers' profits. The Bloomberg report also added to European private banks are still accepting Adani bonds as collateral, with one of them lending on at 75 to 80% of the bond's value. Potential downgrades from rating agencies will have adverse effect on this. The clients who held Adani bonds as collateral with Credit Suisse will have to find new collateral at this point or make cash top-ups. Failing this, the lender can liquidate their securities. In the post-budget 2023 press conference, the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitaraman has addressed the points of the new old tax regime and fiscal consolidation. She said, "We want to make the new tax regime attractive enough for people to take it. Inflation has come down, and that has borne result on fiscal consolidation. We have attended to it with all earnest on jobs, and even they are happening on the ground." In her post-budget 2023 address, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitaraman has emphasized 4 points in this year's budget. Empowering women. Emphasis on tourism. PM Vikas for all those who create soft power of India through craftsmanship and green growth. Union Minister of Finance Nirmala Sitaraman made a slew of announcements related to personal income tax in her budget speech in Parliament on 1st February 2023, with a major emphasis on the new tax regime. Overall, she announced 5 big changes in personal income tax. 1. Tax limit increase in new regime. Now, individuals with a taxable income of 7 lakh rupees will not have to pay any tax under the new tax regime. Earlier, this limit was 5 lakh rupees. Previously, those with income up to 5 lakh rupees under the old tax regime also could avail benefits of up to 7 lakh rupees by virtue of the 1.5 lakh rupees available as deduction under Section 80C and standard deduction of 50,000 rupees. Tax slabs. She also announced new tax slabs under the new regime. They are as follows. For incomes up to 0 to 3 lakh, the tax will be nil. Earlier, this limit was 2.5 lakh rupees, and now it has been increased to 3 lakh rupees. For the Rs. 3 to 6 lakh limit, the tax rate is 5%. For rupees 6 to 9 lakh, it is 10%. For rupees 9 to 12 lakh, it is 15%, and for Rs. 12 to 15 lakh, it is 20%. For incomes above Rs. 15 lakh, it is 30%. This, she said, would provide major relief to taxpayers in the new tax regime. Accordingly, those with a taxable income of 9 lakh rupees will now have to pay a tax of 45,000 rupees as against 60,000 rupees earlier. This is only 5% of the individual's income, a reduction of 25% from what he/she is required to pay now. Likewise, an individual with a taxable salary of 15 lakh rupees will now have to pay a tax of 1.5 lakh rupees or 10% of the income as against 1,87,500 rupees now, a reduction of 20%. 3. Benefits to salaried class and pensioners. She added that the standard deduction of 50,000 rupees to salaried individuals and deduction from family pension up to 15,000 rupees, which is currently allowed only under the old regime, will now be available under the new tax regime as well. Thus, every salaried individual with an income of Rs. 15.5 lakh or more will thus stand to benefit by Rs. 52,500, she said. It is proposed to allow these two deductions under the new regime also, she said. 4. Reduction in tax surcharge. The highest tax rate of 42.74% has also been reduced in this budget. The highest surcharge of 37% has been reduced to 25% in this new budget, she said. This would reduce the maximum tax rate from 42.74% to 39%. However, no change in surcharge has been proposed for those who wish to continue under the old regime. She also announced that the new tax regime will be the default tax system, but taxpayers can still continue with the old tax regime. 5. Exemption on leave encashment. Lastly, the limit of hours. 3 lakh for tax exemption on leave encashment on retirement of non-government salaried employees has been increased to 25 lakh rupees. This was last fixed in 2002, when the highest basic pay in the government was Rs. 30,000 per month, she said. This has been done in keeping with the increase in government salaries, she added. Says Sitaraman, partner, Deloitte India. This budget looks promising for middle-class taxpayers with enhanced slab limits. Revisiting the leave encashment exemption in line with prevalent salary levels is much appreciated. One has to be prepared for how the new tax regime will be focused going forward. Sitaraman added that another point on better targeting of tax concessions and exemptions has been fixing the limit for capital gain exemption in the case of residential houses at 10 crore rupees. The limit is proposed to be fixed on the exemption for proceeds from insurance policies. With eased-up compliance and simplified processes, the budget can be said to meet the hard-working middle-class taxpayers to a considerable extent, he says. Alok Agrawal, partner, Deloitte India added that the new tax regime has got a great boost from the announcements made by Sitaraman. Taxpayers at both ends of the spectrum will be encouraged under the new regime, as there will be no liability up to an annual income of 7 lakh rupees on one hand and surcharge on annual income above 5 crore rupees has been reduced from 37 to 25% at the high income end, he adds. The biggest takeaway on the personal taxation front in Budget 2023 was the renewed impetus on the new tax regime. Out of the 5 tax relief measures that Union Minister of Finance Nirmala Sitaraman announced, 4 were meant specifically for the new tax regime. This, effectively, means that the government is trying to attract more taxpayers towards the new tax regime. However, taxpayers will still have the option to continue with the old tax regime. The bias towards new tax regime. Anecdotally, few taxpayers, especially those in the higher tax brackets, opted for the new tax regime, given that it does not offer deduction and exemption benefits to the taxpayer. For 2020 to 1923, anyone earning up to 7 lakh rupees would have to pay no tax if the person was availing of the 1.5 lakh rupees deduction benefit under Section 80C and standard deduction of 50,000 rupees. The new tax regime compared poorly, as people earning up to only 5 lakh rupees had to pay no tax, after factoring in the 12,500 rupees tax rebate, according to detailed calculations that Deloitte did for Outlook Money for the financial year 2020-23. Currently, those with income up to 5 lakh rupees do not pay any income tax in both the old and new tax regimes. I propose to increase the rebate limit to 7 lakh rupees in the new tax regime. Thus, persons in the new tax regime, with income up to 7 lakh rupees will not have to pay any tax, said Sitaraman in her budget statement. It is important to note that the provision has been made specifically for the new tax regime. The second major impetus to the new tax regime was raising the exemption limit to 3 lakh rupees while reducing the number of tax slabs. Again, it does not seem this exemption limit will be available to the old tax regime. The third and one of the most significant changes that gives the new tax regime an edge is the introduction of standard deduction, which was hitherto only available under the old tax regime. Each salaried person with an income of Rs. 15.5 lakh or more will thus stand to benefit by 52,500 rupees, said Sitaraman. Even the relief on surcharge for the higher tax brackets is meant for the new tax regime. I propose to reduce the highest surcharge rate from 37% to 25% in the new tax regime. This would result in reduction of the maximum tax rate to 39%, Sitaraman said. The bias against old tax regime. In announcing tax relief measures only for the new tax regime, Sitaraman dashed all hopes of a hike in the deduction limit under Section 80C of the Income Tax Act, 1961. The limit has remained the same for nearly a decade. It was in 2014 that then Union Minister of Finance Arun Jaitley raised the limit from 1 lakh rupees to 1.5 lakh rupees. There was no announcement on any changes in the deduction limits under other heads as well, such as health insurance under Section 80D or relief on the interest payment on housing loans. The fact that Sitaraman stayed clear of tinkering with any benefits under the old tax regime raises the question whether the government is in the mood to phase it out eventually. Also, the future of investments that were being purely sold for the purpose of giving tax deduction benefits to taxpayers also hangs in the balance. Union Budget 2023 heralds good news for both industry and the common man. Honorable FM continues to focus on investments and policies keeping the $5 trillion economy ambition in line of sight. Balancing both the strategic and tactical announcements, this budget lays impetus on the 7 key priority areas. From investments in setting up COI for AI in top universities, 100 labs for 5G applications, 35,000 rupees CR for energy transition to concessions on equipment for lithium-ion cells. It is encouraging to see reduction in custom duties for inputs parts of certain electronic items like lithium-ion batteries. TV camera lens will improve the feasibility for enhancing backward integration and subsequently enabling local manufacturing of electronics. After the unveiling of the Union Budget 2023-24, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has started with his address to the nation. He highlighted the following things. The Budget 2023 gives priority to the deprived. This budget will fulfill the dreams of villagers, middle class and the poor. Government has taken steps for betterment of urban and rural women working as domestic help. This budget is a Bahubali budget. With one arrow, multiple targets are shot. Fiscal prudence is achieved with lower deficit and path set till FY26. Consumption is supported through tax cuts. Investment outlay is enhanced. No's are realistic or conservative to enhance the credibility. The budget could have focused more on asset monetization, but that can be pursued otherwise also depending upon market conditions. If you like the content, please like, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you.